what is the Enochian apocalypse working? The Enochian apocalypse working is a set of ritual instructions based on the scrying work of Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly, the 16th century magician, alchemists, scholars, and Renaissance men. These men received a system of magic, which we often call as Enochian magic. So they received a system of magic that involved certain chants, certain calls, which we call the Enochian calls, in the Enochian language, which is sort of like this speaking in tongues type experience. Is supposedly the language of the celestial beings, the angels. In the apocalypse working is an understanding. It is a framework for executing or doing or implementing that ritual work. It was put forth a little bit by Aleister Crowley, thinking as opening the doors to the apocalypse. The understanding here is the apocalypse is the end of the world. It's the end of an age, and it's the birth of a new age. It's the rending of a veil. And the Enochian apocalypse working is a notion also that was put forth in a paper in the 90s. It's like a paper in the 90s. This is what if this was a working of the apocalypse, right? And so practitioners of Enochian magic since then have sort of been fantasizing about that notion, right? I would actually tend to believe in the nature of the Enochian calls as a ritual working to invoke the apocalypse. And that's really how I engaged with it. I believe that we are in something like a nightmare world. And that is demonstrated to me by the activities of our governments, by the strange behavior of human beings who I know to be empathetic, kind, and good, right? I know human beings to be basically good. And so why are we experiencing such aggression, war, and issue? Well, we're in something like a nightmare. And so I see these practices as a means to wake up from that nightmare and to bring the end of the old world and invite the beginning of the new world. And using the phrase Enochian apocalypse working is somewhat terrifying, is somewhat bizarre, but it really does create a kind of atmosphere of this is real, this is important, this is big work. So that's what the Enochian apocalypse working is. I invite you to, if you're curious, to try it yourself. And perhaps even to hold in your heart the notion that we are inviting a better world, a world based on peace, love, and unity consciousness. And you can really do that by going through it yourself. There's systems where it's 49 days or half a year or something like that. But you could also do it like I did, which was 30 days in a way that was easy and guided. And so just start thinking, do you want to do this? Right? Are you willing to do this? Are you willing to go on a journey from the old world to the new world where you're not really sure what it'll be like? You're opening a door and going on a journey you don't really know where it'll lead. You might have an understanding of it, but your intellectual mind, your egoic persona mind, doesn't know where these rituals will lead. And that's very perfect, because it actually does lead to the embodiment of unity consciousness within your experience. And for me, it led to an understanding of the fundamental unity of creation, that God is all, and all is God, and all is love, and so on and so forth, that I am all these things, and you are all these things. And so I am speaking to those bits of illusion, right? I'm speaking now to those bits of illusion that we call I, that we call me, that I might call you. I'm speaking to that little bit of intellectual processing. Wouldn't it be nice to step off of this hamster wheel of suffering and to drop into a deeper reality of truth by rending a veil open and leaving behind a world of war and aggression and of pain and suffering to enter a world of peace, love, and unity consciousness? I say that's a great journey, and I encourage you to go on it in your own way.